I'm recording. All right, everybody. It's here in India. It's Saturday, February 7th in the evening, but I believe in Tennessee it's morning.
It is.
So, Leticia Pizzino, please introduce yourself fully and tell us about the workshop and please lead us in a workshop.
Thank you, first of all, Eric, for providing this opportunity for us um, to be here. Oh, I need to hide my view. You've got me spotlighted. Let's see. Hmm. I would like to see participants.
Oh, okay.
For me, you can spotlight me for everybody, but how do I hide my view? There we go. Um,
Well, your
Hide self
background
view.
is
There we go. Okay, now go ahead and spotlight it. I'll be okay.
okay.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. My name is Leticia Pizzino, and I have been singing since I was 3, and my father says I've been telling stories since I could talk. I've been a professional storyteller since about 1990, and I was trained. My bachelor is in music, voice specifically. I went back and got a graduate certificate in 2019, and I have a graduate certificate in vocology, which is the science and habilitation of voice, whether it's the speaking, singing, or otherwise. I graduated in 2023 with a master's in communication and storytelling studies from East Tennessee State University. My thesis was on Once Upon Online Conversations with Professional Storytellers about adapting from in person to virtual storytelling performance. While it was focused on what was happening in the United States and the video conferencing through storytelling that happened because of the pandemic. In my research, I found that no one in the United States was really doing much storytelling via video conferencing. The one that I found that was doing video conferencing and promoting and discussing the topic, it was Eric Miller. So I became acquainted with his name in my research. And I'm excited to be here and present to you the healthy storytelling voice. If you're interested in my thesis, I can um, copy it and put the link into the chat. So there is my thesis if you want to hear about what professional storytellers had to say about adapting and using video conferencing from being mostly in person, then to video conferencing pretty much exclusively during that time period of the pandemic. So, what does a healthy voice mean to you? Would you go ahead and put it in the chat? What does healthy voice mean to you? Another way to put it is um, a healthy voice is okay, we have a voice free of prejudice and judgments, a persuasive voice, inner stability, rich and resonant, clear. Yes. So how many participants do we have? Okay, there's enough. We could spend about oh, 3 or 4 minutes in what do we call them? The rooms, the separate into rooms.
Breakout rooms.
Yes. Can you help me with the breakout rooms?
Yes,
Put
of course.
put maybe partners in, and what you're going to talk about is because I would like everybody to have a chance to speak and kind of warm up their voices. Um, what impact does or would healthy voice production have for you? If you had a healthy voice or having a healthy voice, what does it do for you?
Hmm. Well, you see, it's a little challenging because we have 25 people, but
Okay.
only about half of us have our cameras on. So
Oh, okay.
the people who don't have their cameras on, I don't know if they're going to be participating.
All right. Then
Um,
let's go ahead and discuss it. If you're willing to share, I just wanted people to be able to warm up their voices, but if that's going to be a challenge, who would like to share what impact does or would healthy voice production have for you?
Maybe.
Someone want to share? I don't see anyone raising their hands.
Leticia,
Yes.
hi, this is Shraddha from India. I am afraid I don't quite understand your question. What do you mean by healthy voice production?
Uh, some of the things that they said, authentic, clear in tone and content, rich and resonant,
Mm-hmm.
um, having having the inner stability. What what does that mean to have that in your work
Okay.
or even in your personal life? What does it do for you? For me,
If I may,
I would say it empowers me.
Mhm.
I
For
have
me, it gives me a sense of freedom
mm,
in a sense that I don't have to always watch what I'm saying or think, how will it be considered nice or not? to
mm.
to have that empowered feeling, not to be rude to anyone, but to have the confidence to be able to express what one is thinking or feeling,
And to do it effectively using
and to
your
do it.
voice. Yes. So, for the purposes of this workshop, oh, is there someone else? I'm sorry, Dr. Nina?
Yes. For me, a healthy voice is the harmony of body, breath, and the mind working, where, you have that river of expression flowing effortlessly from the breath part.
You were breaking up a little bit, but
Can you hear me?
I think I got um, the gist of it was the body, the breath, and the mind being connected, being able to connect and
Yes.
produce. Okay.
Yes.
Nina, you had your hand up.
Yeah, for me, I think it's being able to express yourself freely, communicate effectively, and connect with others heartfully, and using it to uplift yourself and others.
Oh, yes. Is there anyone else who would like to share? From the chat, we have confidence. It makes me confident. It helps heal our doubts and apprehensions and make us a better person. For example, in the course of articulation, we become more confident and we connect with the world. Yes.
Can I quickly
So,
add something? I just want to
yes.
add something. So, apart from feeling empowered myself, I think if I have a healthy voice, most of us are storytellers here who are mentoring others. And I truly believe that if I have a healthy voice, only then I can empower others. Only then I can enable others. otherwise be critically examining them. It might be a negative way of examining them. So yes, healthy voice is essential if I want to enrich others. Thank you.
So the importance of having a healthy voice is connected also into the people that we're leading, teaching, working with. Absolutely.
The
Absolutely. And yes,
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Eric, go ahead, Eric.
Oh, yes. I seem to be pretty healthy with my voice and effective with my voice. But the challenge that I'm really facing is that I work in schools here in South India, and the young people, you know, the 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, they refuse to talk in a group. They refuse. They don't, most of them just don't see themselves as someone who can speak to a group. And
Is this
hmm,
is this a change from previous generations?
I
Do
don't
you see
know.
a change?
I don't know. But to me, being able to speak to a group, it's a sort of a leadership quality. I feel these young people, they can't conceive of themselves as leaders. They just want to sit back and watch somebody make a fool of himself. So I'm struggling to find ways to trick them into developing their ability to speak to a group.
That is a whole that age can be really difficult, the self-consciousness that often comes as they're trying to discover who they are, and definitely having a voice, being able to express themselves, having confidence in their voice to share is going to be very important. So we could think of it the other way is what meaning does voice have to your identity? Or if you don't have a voice, or you struggle with your voice, what is the opposite? What does it do? What impact does unhealthy vocal production do?
Yeah.
Vera, you have your
Let
hand
me
up?
just hit it, and let me
Oh,
just
go ahead, Eric.
add one thing. The young women don't really want to speak in front of the young men, and the young
Mm,
men don't want to speak in front of the young women. I'm working in a co-ed school. But my sense is really that the young people would be more comfortable in a non-co-ed situation. I'm sorry.
yes.
Go ahead.
Vera,
Um,
your
yeah,
hand is up.
well, I was thinking about, uh, can you listen to me? Yes. I was thinking about, uh, I, I teach children, not children, adolescents, adult adolescents, first year at the university. And one of the things when I wrote authentic, I think the
Mm,
importance of being really authentic towards what you were saying. So when you believe what you were saying, when you really have something to tell, even if it's the group, as Eric was saying, they do have this difficulty to communicate and to talk to the group. And I I developed a project which is, we have to change in many ways, but there was, light at the end of the tunnel. They talk about powerful objects or things that really matter to them, things that really they are willing to communicate. And this then there is this effect involved. So it is we are at the university talking about content, some study and everything, and reading and writing and all those academic tasks, but talking about feelings it's not very easy. So very carefully when they do this, they talk about their powerful objects that somehow refers to specific things that happens in their lives, and they show the different objects, what they want to share, nothing compulsory. So, and I think then this is what I call authentic. And then there's this voice. They have voice because they have something um, sincere to talk about. It's not easy.
Thank you, Vera. So, what we have is the voice, like someone's ability to express themselves, to find out who they are and how they're going to present in the world, that's more general. Then we have the actual physical voice. The physical voice impacts the general voice, right? So we say a writer has a voice. We say that somebody uses their voice um, to share an idea. And it's not necessarily talking about the physical voice, but the physical voice does impact it. It is a part of our identity, especially if we are vocal, professional voice users. Professional voice users, I would put singers, of course, and actors, but also, storytellers, we're here talking about it because of it. The voice of the voice of the physicalness of the voice. I did a research when I first came and did my storytelling and communication. I wanted to know what happened to storytellers specifically when they lost their voice, if it was like for a small period or for a larger period, how they were affected, how they were impacted, not just their work, but what happened to their identity. And I did not find as many storytellers to be able to share that with me. So I expanded it to professional voice users, which included actors and teachers. Now, teachers often, they are the one group that has the most vocal related injuries, uh, vocal injuries related to work. It's a workplace hazard because they're often talking in situations that are challenging. They have to talk all day. Maybe the air conditioning, or and then there's sometimes with young children, they're around people and they get illnesses. And so teachers are included in that as well. So what happens to our identity? What happens to how we feel about ourselves, how we perceive ourselves, if our voice does not perform, if our physical voice does not perform in the way that we would want? And so I would like to share a little bit about how the voice works, um, the body, the breath, resonance, and also talk about some ways that we can get better performance out of our voice, as well as a few exercises to help bring our voice out, to help heal our voice. And then we also have, we'll have a little bit of body with it, like what we might do to take care of our voice. So
If I
let's
could
start.
add one little thing there, you mentioned air
Yes.
conditioning. I wish here in South India, air conditioning only exists in very posh upper class schools. The 99% of schools have fans, which make a lot of noise and make speaking in class much more difficult because of the fan noise.
Yes. I actually helped a friend, a fellow teacher. I had been hired to do uh, music, to teach music at a school, and the art teacher was in a classroom with a air conditioner, and she had overused her voice trying to speak over the machinery that was so loud. And she went to the doctor and got diagnosed with vocal dysphonia, which is basically hoarseness, and she wasn't able to overcome it. Her vocal cords were not approximating, and so there was extra noise, hoarseness. And she applied to get workers' compensation to try to get healthcare benefits. Nothing. There was no option for her. And she said, I don't know what to do. And so with my research and understanding the voice, I shared with her some exercises, and she was able to overcome her hoarseness and strengthen her voice. That I showed her a few exercises and then kind of put her in a direction of where she could find some others. And she was able to help herself because oftentimes the care isn't there. Oftentimes we're on our own. That's what I'm trying to say. And so the more information we have, the more knowledge we have, the more helpful it is. So let's talk about the voice being free, flexible, strong, and resonant. If you have those qualities, then you're able to have more range of voice, more length of voice use, and not have it affect you adversely. So knowing how it works, we have two tubes that go from here down that carry air. That's the first one that's in front of the throat. And then we have the one where we're swallowing and our food goes down to our stomach. So the one in the front is connected from our lungs up to our mouth. And it's through there that there are vocal folds at the top here, the larynx. The larynx is the Adam's apple. Your vocal folds vibrate back and forth and they let air through. If they're not approximating, touching each other completely, if there's bulges or if they're not closing completely on one side or the other or the front or the back, you're going to get different sounds, different hoarseness, extra air, which is inefficient, not only inefficient, but it's also unhealthy for our voice. Our voice doesn't last as long if we're breathy, if we have tension in this area and the rest of our body, it will affect our voice. So, how do we work with our breath? How do we know what we're working with? Well, our lungs are where the air comes from to drive the vibrations of the vocal folds, vocal cords, same thing. And it is driven by the diaphragm. So if you will touch right here below your ribs, and they come upward, and there's a soft spot right here that if you push, kind of makes you feel sick. Don't push on it, but just notice. Just sit for a moment with your hand on it. This is your diaphragm, which is a dome-shaped muscle, and it separates the abdomen from the chest cavity. It will, as you breathe, it relaxes down, and as you breathe, and spreads out, and as you exhale, it will come up so that the air comes out of your lungs. So this is an important thing to know about, but it's not a muscle that you can consciously really work on. You just thinking of breathing is where it comes from. So when you're taking a breath, if you put your hand here and about your belly button and touch your thumb and your pinky and you breathe in, do you see slight movement? There should be a movement where your stomach, and it's hard to see it coming out on a video, but if I do this, you can see my thumb and my fingers slightly separate when I breathe in. Go ahead and give it a try with you. Take a deep breath meaning downward relaxation. It's as if, and this is only imagery, because you really can't fill your stomach with air. Some people say fill your stomach with air. Some people say breathe down in your lower back. Now that's not possible because your lungs are actually sacs and little air pockets, and they fill up. They're a branch. They're not actually like a balloon, but it's an imagery that might help. If you think of blowing through a balloon and it blows up, it has to reach, air has to reach the bottom. So it's as if a balloon. Another way to do it is to take a breath in. Shh, shh, shh. Put your hand right here, right where maybe your thumb is at the point here where your ribs come together, and you just rest your hand. And then above here on your chest, you rest it. Breathe and see if you can move the lower hand out first and then the top. So expanding and pushing against the lower hand, then expanding the upper. That's how we get a full breath of air. So go ahead and give it a try with me. Breathing in. And then breathing out, and you'll feel them both go in and both go down. Hand here and say shh. Repeat shh several times. Shh, 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 shh. Give a forceful shh. What happens with your hand down closer to your diaphragm? What happens to your hand when you say shh with force? Shh, 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 shh. Can you describe what you're feeling? You're feeling it down there? So sometimes when we breathe, especially if we're nervous or tense, we only breathe shallow up here. And that does not give us as strong of vocal production. Now, once you get those are a couple of exercises for you to do shh, as well as the breathing and feeling it move. If you're having trouble recognizing or feeling this, one thing to watch is if the baby or a child is asleep, just resting, their stomach and their belly is going to be moving. If they're laying on their back, you'll see their stomach and belly move, especially in children. They haven't learned all and haven't gotten all the tension that sometimes we adults do. So when you're feeling like you want to get in connection with the breath that's a little bit lower and relaxed, try laying on your back and just observe if you can move your air, feel it down. Oh, yes, absolutely. In the chat, similar breath exercises in yoga. Absolutely. So yoga is a really good practice to help connect your voice and your mind and your body. And using the breathing exercises are very helpful. I've used yoga exercises to help with my breathing, to get a better steady flow where my muscles are coordinated and they're smooth. Also, it helps in strength and control. So yoga is a really good, thank you for putting that in the link. So we have also, what do we do with our breath? Where's our breath supposed to go? Efficiently, we say, as singers, sing into the mask. So this area is where we want to think of our air coming to, catching our air in our mask. So your resonance is affected by your air. For instance, sometimes we put too much nose into our voice. If I'm to speak like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do you hear my voice is nasal? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have too much air going into my nose, so when I plug my nose at 5, did you hear the change? I'll do it one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got too much air going to my nose. So that's a good test. Try that out and see what happens when you're breathing and counting. 1, 2, count to 5, count to 10, and what happens? What happens? Now, some of your vowels, or some of your consonants and vowels, some of the numbers, and you can count slower and feel the different sensation. Different words have different placement, and some of them might go a little bit more nasally than the other. That's okay. That's okay. It's the constant and sudden and drastic change that tells you have too much air coming through your nose to speak efficiently. Also, what if I have a cold? When I pinch my nose, nothing happens. That's no air coming through my nose, right? If I have a cold, then I have no sound coming through my nose, and when I pinch it, nothing happens, right? So try that. Speak like you have a cold. Go from one extreme to the other. If you are able to place your air where it goes 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like if you can tell how, if you can manage that, and if you can manage a cold, you have the two extremes. If you are able to change from one to the other, then you have flexibility. You don't want to speak at the extremes. That's inefficient air. That's inefficient voice. It's also harsh on the voice. You want to speak where there's a good mix, and we'll talk about how to get that. A breathy voice. Sometimes we think a breathy voice is sexy or desired. There are times to put breath into our voice for meaning, but if you use this constantly, if this is your constant, you are wearing out your voice by not using it efficiently. When we're telling stories, we want our voice to last at least through the story, if not through the rest of the day. Sometimes we have a longer concert. How do we manage efficiency? And breathy isn't efficient. Then there's the gravelly voice where there's vocal fry going on. And there's arguments whether that's hard on your voice or not. There is a time to use any of these things for emphasis. I'm not saying never, never use them, but as a habit, if you're leaning toward one of these or the others and your voice is wearing out, correcting that to be more resonant will give you more power and efficiency and help heal your voice from its wearing out. Let's talk about efficient voice. A voice is meant to be used. We should be able to talk and talk and talk and not wear out. It's when we're not doing it well, when we're not taking care of ourselves, that we end up with vocal problems. All right. Do we have any questions or comments about the different voice problems, some common voice problems? They're not the only ones, but some common voice problems. Sometimes breathy voice or hoarse voice comes from, if it's consistent, comes from a pathology in the vocal instrument. And so I always advise for a check if I have my clients or my students having consistent problem, or if it comes with an onset of a cold or something like that, then I have them looked at. I ask them to get an examination by someone who knows voice, ENT, who specializes in voice especially.
I have a question.
Otolaryngologist.
I have a
Pardon?
question. I have a question. Can
Yes.
I go ahead?
Yes,
So
please.
yeah. So I had this stutter problem during my childhood. I was a stutterer, but I was able to overcome that. And now while I was speaking, I tend to speak in a like continuous manner, and I sometimes feel out of breath. So I just need to pause a bit. So although I have overcome my stutter, I still need to be rhythmic. I'm not getting that. So can you suggest me something, some kind of rhythmic way to speak, so that I will not I will take constant pauses and speak in a better way. It's like,
So your concern is the pacing?
yeah, pacing.
Pacing, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So I get out of breath like whenever I try to explain some concept or something. If I am talking continuously for like half second, like a minute or so, I don't take breathe-ins regularly. So that makes me out of breath, and I my voice changes a bit. So how to take breath-ins in regularly?
So you're talking about how your breath changes when you speak over an amount of time. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's true.
So some of that would be some, I would look at some exercises. I would think about some exercises that you practice breathing separately from speaking, like understand and work on your control of your breath. I would start with that, and then I would pair it with simple voice exercises. And then I would work on scripts or texts that you will be presenting or would be presenting, or similar to what you're going to present. If you're going to tell a story, if you're going to present some information, then practicing with that and taking very deliberate, mindful pauses so that your body learns when I'm talking, this is how I want you to behave. This is how I want you to breathe. So habituating the correct breathing, break it down to really slow parts.
Yeah.
And then as well, singing. That's my go-to. Even for speakers, sing to practice your text. And in the chat, speech and language pathologists, therapists are helpful in offering voice therapy, offering therapy. Absolutely. There are specialists. Now, SLPs, speech language pathologists, are they specialize in various things. Some of them specialize in feeding and swallowing. Some of them specialize in adults. Some of them pediatrics. Some of them singing. Or voice use. There's a huge range. So you want to find someone with a specialty that you're looking for, whether it's for stuttering, that's what was in the chat, or whether it's hoarseness or that sort to help you overcome, to habilitate your voice, or rehabilitate and then to habilitate. I would, these are things to try on your own, what I'm recommending, or to find, someone who helps with speaking, speech language pathologist. There are a number of SLPs who have trained in vocology. I sat in the classes, and about half of us were professional singers or teachers. Most of us were like about half of us were teachers and of singing. Half of us were SLPs. Some of them both. Some of them. So vocology is a really helpful field if you can find somebody who's trained in vocology, which is this research and habilitation of voice science.
Yeah.
So without being one-on-one, those are some generals. And
Thanks.
some of these things that I've just described are useful for anyone with breathing. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So let's do some efficient, how we make efficient voice. First, let's start with So you can all be on mute and you can hum to your heart's content. Put your lips together loosely and buzz. where do you feel the sensation of resonation, of vibration and resonation? Where are you feeling it? It's good to note. Some people feel a lot in their nose, some people lots on their lips, some of them in the back of their mouth, some of them all. Depends on how low it is. Sometimes if I'm lower, I feel it lower. Mm, mm, Not so much. Higher. When I go higher, I just feel the vibration differently. So where you hum, and let's hum about where you speak. So say a couple of words. My name is Leticia. Hum right there where you speak. My name is. Okay. So now open up. And put your hand in front. Oh, before you open your mouth. Do you feel condensation? Do you feel breath on your hand when you put it here? Do you feel it on your fingers when you hum? Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to feel a little bit coming from our mouth when we open it. Ma. There should not be a rush of air. Ma. But there should be kind of a gentle, maybe a little bit of shift. Try it. Ma. Where does is there a big change? Do you still feel that air flow? Now try ah. Ah. Does it change when you say ah after the M or when you say ah without the M? Ma. Ah. Does it did it change? Or is it the same? I'm curious.
It changed. It has
It's
changed.
Thumbs
it's
up if it
changing.
changed a lot.
Yeah.
How about like this if it only changed a little? Okay. The M is a really good place to learn how to get that resonation in the right place. It is one of the easiest SOVT exercises. SOVT, semi-occluded vocal tract exercises. Semi-occluded vocal tract exercises set up the vocal tract without going into all the science of it and the sound waves and the vibrations and where it's happening and the air pressure and the aerodynamics. Without all of that, skipping all of that, I'm going to tell you that it sets up your vocal tract for the ideal resonance, for the ideal vocal production. Even better than the hum, according to Dr. Ingo Tietze, who has done much research and has really brought out and has led the way in SOVTs, is straws. Have you heard of straw phonation? Some of you might have. These are little coffee stirring straws. Some people, it helps to start with a regular size straw. And you put it on and hum or sing through the straw. You're not blowing. You should still hear. The big one doesn't work as well for me. If you have trouble blowing on a small one, not blowing, resonating through it. You seal your lips around it, and the only opening is here and your nasal passages. If you have trouble blowing through a small straw, try putting several together until it feels like you can do it, because some people have trouble with just a small one, and then you can take one away when your voice gets stronger, and then eventually another one away. The length and the width of the tube makes a difference. They also have, there we go. This one was especially for voice. It's a stainless steel straw. There are sets of straws. So you don't have straws. I didn't know who all was coming. So we're going to do something a little bit different. Oh, I was going to show you also. You can do a straw. I'm humming through with sealing my lips around the straw, and the air is coming out, and you can see the bubbles. The air pressure, the water pressure also helps set up the vocal folds to vibrate most efficiently and the air to move through our voice most efficiently. Now, we don't have straws and the setup. I'm just showing this for you to experiment with and for you to understand what Dr. Ingo Tietze thinks is the ideal SOVT. But some people resonate better with, okay, I didn't mean to like resonate better with certain SOVTs. The straw with a cup full of water. You can also take a cup and put it against your mouth. If you have a cup handy that's empty, you could put a cup against your mouth. My cup is full. And you can talk into it. You can sing into it. Do it for 10 minutes. Start with little steps or start with a single tone. And then you move around. You can also do blowfish. Now, this one we can do because you have the tools right with you. You're going to puff up your cheeks like a puffer fish. And without them collapsing, hum. Okay, so now we're going to do, and if you feel lightheaded, if it's too much air, please make sure you're sitting down, take a break, get your breath back, be aware of your body. You're responsible for maintaining your comfort zone. So let me run through a couple of others. The hum, the N, that also, the N besides the M works. Lip trill and tongue trill work. Lip trill is this. Oh, wow. Your lips together, not tightly, and blow raspberries while you're humming. That was my favorite until I discovered the straw. When I learned lip trills, I didn't know why they were. Makes my nose itch, but that's a good thing. Vibration is happening. That's what we want. That's what makes it itch. If you haven't figured out lip trill, or try tongue trill, because it takes a certain amount of breath support and tension to maintain the tongue trilling. So lip trill and tongue trill work really well. But we're going to do blowfish. Blow and just do a single tone. We're going to do this for about 10 minutes while I'm talking. Right now, let's have you not just say your name, but maybe also, how about start a sentence of a story or get a text, a book, maybe a book that you have nearby. Read some text if you don't have a story to mind. So start talking and telling the story. Notice how you feel. Notice how your voice feels. And then we're going to spend a few minutes doing our vocal tract exercise. And then you will speak again. And I would like you to experience and notice what's the difference between before and after. So as we go through these exercises, I'll give you a couple seconds to read and kind of take a temperature, take a check on how your voice is feeling and what it sounds like to you. So go ahead and read or tell a story. Okay, do you have a sense? Do you have a sense of how your voice is sounding, how it's feeling? Okay, now let's try the vocal exercise. with a puffer fish. If you have a straw, feel free to do that. And I'll walk you through some of the things we're going to do. Single tone. Take your breath and come back in anytime that you need. Now go up and down a few steps. Again, remembering if you get dizzy, make sure you stop, breathe. Now, just stretch the range a little bit. Go a little bit higher. Go a little bit lower. And it's kind of like you're circling around, high and low, slowly. Now let's take it to some extremes of our range. Let's take it down, kind of lower. Just push that depth down. Now, obviously, if your voice is lower than my soprano voice, please take your range, not mine. You don't have to match pitch because nobody's here. We're not going to sound like an out of out of tune choir. So it's okay. Go lower than what you would normally speak. Now, in keeping going low on the down loop, go up a little bit higher, and each time just gradually a little bit higher and a little bit higher, and go up into the upper part of your range where you're not in your speaking range. You're definitely out of it and as high as it will allow without straining. We've been doing it about 5 minutes. We're doing good. Don't have to sound pretty. Now, what is a song that you would like to sing? I'm going to do I'd like to teach the world to sing. But I'm going to mutter the words, I'm sure, without the lips, right? But I'm going to do the tune. So pick a song. If you don't want to sing my song, pick a song and sing a song. Maybe one that you're working on. Like didgeridoo practice. Then you must have good lungs if you're playing a didgeridoo. I did not know you played a didgeridoo. I'm going to mute so you can sing your own song. Okay, I'm going to try to mute. Okay, almost there. Now go back to that text that you were doing. And try to approximate the words without opening your lips. So it's going to sound like so keep on reading. Couple more minutes. Read through your text, tell your story. All right, we're just about 30 seconds shy. Well, we're a little shy of 10 minutes. We're going to call it now. Open up your mouth and do the text again, speaking your text out or telling your story. Notice the feeling. Notice the resonance, the airflow. Okay, so we're speaking clearly. We're done with the blowfish. We're done with the SOVT exercises. Okay, wrap up your sentence, the next sentence or two. Was there a contrast? Yes or no? Thumbs up, thumbs down. A contrast. Okay, I want to hear what your sensations, the feeling, the difference, anything, whether it's internal, whether it's something that you noticed in your muscles, anything, thinking about the contrast. I'd like to hear what you experienced.
Um, for me,
Yes,
it sounds more fluid than before.
more fluid.
Yeah.
That is a quality that we're looking for in our voice production. Very good.
My
Yeah.
voice was hoarse in the morning, but now I feel it's easy to talk now.
We love the word easy. That is that is the best description for this. Easy. We want it to be easy because that means it's free, it's flowing. Ah, awesome. Thank you, Sophie, for sharing that. That's a great word. Anyone else?
Hi, can I go?
Yes.
Yeah, I felt very refreshed, and I wanted to say too that it was very easy for me to read this time after the practice.
Easy to read. You felt the same? Oh, I am so pleased. So if we can set up our vocal folds for success with exercises, why not? This is a great way to warm up, a great way. And if you work on it daily, you have you're getting muscle memory. You're teaching your muscles to act properly, both in breathing, because you have to be able to breathe well and take in good breaths in order to have these sustained sounds. Did you notice that your breathing had to be different? There was a different pressure with the air coming up. Let's see in the chat. My bass voice was lower, so it freed up some lower sounds, which if you have lower sounds, if you have a bigger range, then you have more ability, more tools to draw on as a storyteller, right? Amazing difference, so much smoother, voice much more pleasant. Rachel, okay. And Janet, smoother, more resonant, yes, easier. Morning here, and you hadn't spoken a word. Well, that sounds really good. A great morning exercise. Warm up, and you've got a voice in the morning. Does anyone else have anything that they want to add, an observation? Okay, so if you're looking for airflow, if you're looking for resonance, SOVTs are the golden exercise. Rachel, did you want to say something? Oh, I thought I saw your hand. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. I'm glad you were game to try it. I know it's a little awkward, a little funny. And so I appreciate you being willing to take the risk to do that. Rachel said the words are easier to read. And oh no, Rachel said words are easier to read, and Eric said more resonance. Please state what that acronym stands for. Oh, absolutely. Okay, so it's called SOVT exercises. I'm going to put my book aside. Exercises stand for semi-occluded, let's see if I can spell it, vocal tract exercises. And this is the person that I mentioned. And there are others who have taken up and who are involved in the study of this. But the one who, let's see if I can spell his name right. Dr. Ingo Tietze, who is with the National Center for Voice and Speech. He's a very curious and humble man he came up with the term vocology. Quite a few decades, several decades ago. It's a fairly new field of study, but he envisioned the science and not just the science and research, but also the practical side of voice coming together. And so the vocology, the study and habilitation of voice. And they've done research for vocal voice. Let me say that again. They have done research for professional voice users. They're very interested in that, not just singing, but also speaking, as well as animal speech. He has a curiosity about that. So what can we do now that you've experienced it? I hope you keep track. I hope you make something of a daily habit of something of what we've mentioned. Daily exercise, daily practices. Any practice for a healthy body, healthy mind, is a practice for a healthy voice. Some are more specifically targeted to the voice, but yoga, massage, relaxation, those sorts of things are useful. It's important to stay hydrated. That's another good practice. The standard that I've heard for hydration is to drink half of your weight in ounces. And I'm not sure how that translates if you don't do ounces. You'll have to look that in. So I weigh 122 about right now. So I would be 50 plus 11. I would drink 61 ounces. So you take your weight, you divide it in half, and that's how many ounces you would drink. Be aware of what we call the Lombard effect in your life. Are you in a loud environment? There's this involuntary response that we have, and this goes to the teachers, and you were talking about the situation with the air conditioning, the noisy fans that are going. It's an involuntary response of a speaker to raise their volume and increase their vocal effort when they're speaking in a noisy environment. We do it without realizing. And so being aware of what kind of environment you're speaking in and being very careful and taking steps to speak healthy or get a sound system, something to protect your voice when you're in those situations. Employ practices of reducing excess tension in your body as well as in your mind. Beware of medication side effects. That's another thing to be careful of. There's a list on the National Center for Voice and Speech of medications, pharmaceuticals that affect your voice. So if you're taking anything, you might want to find out if it is your if there's something that might be affecting your hydration, that might be affecting your vocal cords, that might be affecting your voice, and they have that. Also, avoid excess clearing of throats. Every time you, it is a an assault and it's an explosion on your vocal cords. Chronic voice clearing can be potentially a traumatic behavior, a habit for these delicate tissues of the vocal folds. So instead of clearing your throat, things to try is try dry swallowing. Try just getting that tickle feeling by swallowing, or take small sips of water. Maybe a little sip of water will help. Also, lightly humming. The vibration can help oftentimes with phlegm, or just keep talking, just simply talking or singing through this mucus, because that's often what is causing the throat clearing. More than likely, the vibrations of singing or talking will get rid of the mucus that might be sitting on the vocal folds. And I've seen images of vocal folds vibrating with excess mucus, and it really does get in the way. So we have this natural feeling that we want to get it out of the way. But clearing our throat isn't the only way, and it's certainly the least healthy of them. Be cautious. Be aware of alcohol and caffeine intake, because they are both known to cause dehydration and can also be disruptive to your sleep. Sleep is an important thing. To have a healthy sleep habit, very important for our voice. What happens when we're tired is our body stops working as well and as efficiently. And if our body isn't working well, then we have this tendency to make all of the load, the workload on our throat, on our voice, which is difficult. Is it Sui? Did I pronounce that correctly? Okay, Sui. Two questions. I notice nervousness. That's a voice break. So when you're talking, you'll have kind of a is it where your voice flips, or is it stops and pauses? When you say voice break, what do you describe?
It's kind of like I'm talking. It's supposed to flow, but I would have to. The voice just stops, and then I need to swallow, and then so it's not smooth. I notice
So
it
is it
happens if I'm nervous, and it depends on who's in the audience, and sometimes
mhm.
I realize it happens when I'm nervous with certain situations.
So when it happens, is it in the middle of a word,
Yeah, it could be
or is it
middle of
okay? Okay.
sentence.
So your airflow is stopped. Nervousness, I think you've hit on the cue. So what you're going to want to do, if I was working with you, I would consider some approaches. So maybe some approaches for you to look into would be something that will help you with nerves. And sometimes some mind work will help. There's something called tapping that I have started looking into and resets the nervous system. It's called EFT tapping, emotionally focused therapy tapping. There's a lot online about it, but it helps with anxiety. So I've been kind of playing with that one a little bit for nervousness for clients, for students. So there would be the body. Part of it too is it probably, my guess would be I would have to hear it, but I'm thinking maybe it's in the breath. I used to have a clutch in my throat that would stop the breath when I was little and I was nervous. And I would feel this. And so learning to swallow better has helped me.
Yeah, it's kind of like
I
a
feel.
swallow. Like I would all of a sudden need to swallow or something like that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I can't figure out what it is.
I feel like also I would have a like kind of a click. I would feel like my tongue was stuck on my soft palate. So breathing exercises, and then putting yourself in a state where you're thinking of nervousness and the audience. So practicing thinking of a nervous situation. I know it's not the same, and then retraining your body to respond differently in nervousness is another. So going through visual exercises. I would do visual exercises. So I would pair the SOVT and the breathing exercises I gave because that's the motor to drive the voice. I would pair that with trying to find ways, whether it's meditation before going, putting your mind in a different place for the nervousness, or tapping, something like that. Or there's some various practices kind of out of the scope of what I'm doing, but I just kind of give you some ideas to go look for. Also, the visualization where you're in a nervous situation and you're able to keep going. Visualize yourself being successful. Like you were almost to that point, but then you did the right thing, visualizing yourself and practicing and actually speaking out and actually breathing in ways that are healthier to help yourself. So thank you for the question. Psychotherapy, especially IFS, internal family systems, can be great for nervousness. I have not looked into that. I am interested. Okay, I'm always looking for ways. Thank you for suggesting that, Lucy. Internal family systems, IFS, can be great for nervousness. A lot of research supports this as effective compared with placebo. Lots of studies about anxiety and tapping. Lots of studies have come out in the last like 10, 15 years. So I am going to look into IFS. Thank you for suggesting that. Okay, some more things to do to help you is washing your hands, practicing good hygiene, avoiding places where people are sick if you're needing to speak. Okay, and I say that as I'm a volunteer at a storyteller at a hospital, so I don't avoid places, but I take precautions to keep myself healthy in those situations. So, in order to uh, assess yourself, not just by feeling, you can do the same thing that we did before and after of the SOVTs. I would suggest recording you speaking, telling a story, reading a text, something that you're going to be doing anyway in front of an audience. Record your voice and listen. I know it's really hard to listen, but knowing, having this information, do you start strong and then peter out? Do you sound strange? Do you have frequency of throat clearing? Do you sound too soft? Do you need to be louder? Do you feel low? Does it feel your voice feel low and gravelly, especially at the end of sentences? Does it break in spots, like certain pitches, which is a different thing than what Sui was talking about? If it breaks in spots, like where your range, where you're speaking, that's a little bit different. Does it sound nasal? And we talked about the different ways that you're using or not using the noise. Does it sound squeaky or breathy, or do you hear tension or feel tension? Is there anything that stands out and bothers you? Pay attention to those things because you can be your own best teacher. You're the one who's with yourself and you can hear it. And I know it's really hard to listen to, but then do 10 minutes of SOVT of your choice. I suggest straw, or the puffer fish also works. Try out different ones to see what resonates with you, which one you feel best with. Then record yourself after. So it's not just a feeling. I kind of wish that we were I should have I wanted to take some, but I wasn't sure about taking examples, but to hear one person before and to hear one person or a couple people before and after so that you could actually hear it because you were feeling it, but hearing it is powerful. So I suggest recording. Picking out something out of these exercises out of these ideas, out of these thoughts. Don't overwhelm yourself. You don't have to be a perfect speaker suddenly. It's not going to happen overnight, but just one little thing. Write down one thing. Don't overwhelm yourself. Write one thing. Pick something, a healthy habit from today that you learned is a healthy habit. What are you going to examine? What are you going to work on? Just one little thing. And then another similar question. So that's one thing you're going to commit to doing, because a workshop, with this workshop, I would like it to carry forward. I don't want it to end here, because so many times we hear things, but if you write one thing down and remember, but also how has there been a shift? Is there an insight into your voice? What shift in thinking or speaking or telling stories did you experience or did you hear that resonated with you? And how can you carry it forward? So what insight? And you can write it in the chat. If you want to write it there, you can write it on a piece of paper. There's two questions. One is pick one healthy habit, just one small little thing. Like I'm going to warm up for 2 minutes before I speak. And then the other thing is an insight into how you view your voice, how you view the instrument of the voice, one piece of knowledge that you learned that might be helpful in carrying forward. What strategy is the first one? The first question is about what strategy are you going to use, and the other is about what concept have you picked up? Now, did I answer all the questions? Meditation. Okay, I like that. I have combined meditation and or I've layered meditation and tapping, and those things have moved me forward when I felt like I was stuck at times. That have really helped me. Is there anything? We have about 10 minutes left because we end in about 9 minutes, right? Okay. Is there any question that you have that I've not covered? Is there anything that you would like me to expand on that I introduced? Because there's so much. I hope it gives you a place to go and explore, because we are very fortunate to have the internet. You can tap into the wisdom of Dr. Ingo Tietze. To be mindful of the volume while talking or telling stories. Okay. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being willing to share. Give you a couple more minutes to write. I see some writing still. And then questions. Okay.
I tend to invite students to put their hand on the diaphragm and make vowel sounds with an H in front of it, like ha, ha,
Absolutely.
ho. And I always tell them, you're not going for loudness. Don't make it loud. Make it vibrate. Make it resonant. And I want them to actually feel the diaphragm muscle contracting, which happens when the sound is shorter, like a ha, ha, oh, ho. Ha 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 ha. So I feel it's good for them to actually isolate and feel the muscle moving, so they get a sense of how to call on it when they need the air power.
Nice. Right. Having that strength, having that coordination, super important while we're phonating, not just breathing, but we need to be able to phonate. We need to make a sound on the breath and connect those two, the power of it. Thank you.
Hmm. And I've noticed a lot of teachers use a sharp sound like a hey, ho, hey, almost as a weapon to warn students to be quiet or warn them to stop. It's they weaponize their voice. And you're right, it has to be, you have to be careful not to damage your voice when you do that. But I feel if you use your diaphragm for it, you're not going to hurt yourself.
Right. I was taught by someone who teaches screaming, like blood curdling screaming in a healthy way.
Hmm.
She explained how you do, and you have to have so much body connection, much more than regular speech, in
Mm.
order to do it in a way that is freeing. She also teaches um, rockers to scream sing.
Hmm.
And so I've heard it's really interesting. Okay, so questions. I've got a couple questions I will answer. Oh, while I wanted to follow up on that, is that the hey, 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 coming from here,
Mm.
hey, 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 hey,
Mm.
is different than the hey, hey, that oftentimes teachers will raise their voice and they want to, but it's strain. They forget that it's actually like a baby cries, right?
Mm.
Babies cry and cry and cry, and they don't get hoarse. Many of them would just cry. And
Mm.
you never thought such a little tiny baby with a little tiny vocal fold could be so loud. It's the efficiency that they
Mm.
have. Their whole body is involved, right? And they're not grabbing it at their throat. And they're able to do it. If we can maintain not the crying part, but the energy of it and the strength and the coordination of it, we can be loud without injuring ourselves.
Mm.
So, no voice at all. Is it Moira? I'm sorry, I don't even know how to say your name.
Very easy, Moira. Well,
Mara?
I can speak that much, but not much
Oh,
more.
okay. I don't expect you to after your question. I have no voice at all at present. Infection, I guess. So you've been sick? Do you have some practical hint that helps? So one thing is, whispering is not the thing to do. If your voice goes out, if you're not feeling well, do not whisper. That's the one of the worst things you can do. To articulate, you want to do it in a healthy way, and whispering is not too much air, and it will cause more damage. Think of wind blowing through. If you're in a wind, your skin feels dry. If it's windy for a while, right? Especially if it's dry. If it's windy, you dry out. Well, the same thing. Lots of wind through the air, extra wind will dry it out more. So one thing I do, and I have it running right now, always have a vaporizer when the weather's dry. So moisture in the air helps. It does not actually help the vocal folds per se because it doesn't get to the vocal folds. We don't breathe in a lot of it's not reaching it in the way that we would think. You need a nebulizer if you want to actually um, hydrate your um, hydrate your vocal folds. I'm gonna put my name in the chat. Not my name, my Okay. So there's my email. In the last part of it, storytellerleticia.com has a kind of a placeholder, a placeholder website. Okay, so really quick, what do I do when I'm sick? I tend to do SOVTs. Preliminary research suggests that better than vocal rest, that it may be better than vocal rest. So vocal rest has been the number one. That's been the number one thing. Don't whisper, don't talk, write things down. Vocal rest if you've got an injury, if you have an illness. So that's the number one thing. But there's preliminary research to be, sorted out. and more studies to be done, that the voice actually heals better and faster with SOVTs, like with straw therapy was the specific study that they did. So that's one thing. So anything that is healthy, if it's bad, you want to go healthcare professional. This is something that my healthcare professional told me to do. Throat coat. It has some herbs in it that help soothe the throat, and he suggested it for my stomach. So it also soothes your stomach. And I've been taking throat coat before. If you don't have access to it, it has, oh, it's not going to show. Doesn't see my face. You might look it up online. You'll see it better. Organic throat coat by traditional medicinals. Look it up and it will tell you the ingredients, which are licorice root, slippery elm bark, licorice, and a proprietary blend of things. Oh, plus marshmallow root. All right. So herbs, that sort of thing. Some people, there's some actors who swear by Fisherman's Friend, which is a throat lozenge to bring their voice back. I had someone suggest lobelia. I've used lobelia, which you have to be really careful with because it'll upset your stomach, to bring some of the hoarseness out, to eliminate some of the hoarseness in my voice when I had to perform. I did that as well. So those are a couple of things. And what is something simple to explain to young children to help them understand the healthy voice? I have them do shouting and calling. Hey you, hey you, and I exemplify like calling is really helpful, or sing. I have do some singing exercises, or I have them do, and this is with other people as well, a lot of tongue twisters. They love those kind of things. Those are easy and short. In a short moment, that is something simple to explain healthy voice. I teach them breathing, and I teach them calling, and I teach them, and then I move from there. They like to imitate, and so maybe the imitation is a way to do it as well. Thank you so much for your comments and your participation, your encouragement. I loved hearing your ideas. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Very good.